Robinhood updated their Platinum Card, but it's still a skip for most people. There's a ton of availability for next year for one of the best hotels in New York, and this might be one of the worst credit cards I've seen in a very long time. This and more in today's roundup. Big favor, thumbs up to help the algorithm, and if you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Okay, so a few weeks back, Robinhood revamped their Platinum Card. This was after a pretty big flop earlier in the year, and it kind of still feels like a flop. I do find it funny that they are leading off the weight and also the platinum plating, how it's annoyingly heavy. To be fair, it is 99.9% pure platinum, but it's only plating and the inside is a heavy metal core. The issue is that plating probably doesn't mean what you think it does. It's usually just micro layers, think 0.02 grams to 0.05, so maybe $1 or $2 of the material. Same idea of gold plating, but gold is a little bit better because of how expensive it is. It might sound nice, but the melt value isn't what you think it is. Back to the card, they did get a lot of pushback in March, so they made improvements. Some do sound worse, but I'd argue they're a lot better. For example, they ended up lowering the DoorDash promos, and it's now $120 and it's monthly, but there's no minimum order size. With the prior iteration, it was a $50 minimum order. They also ended up upping the travel credit to $1,000, but it's not what you think it is, so it's $700 for hotel stays of 2 nights or more booked through Robinhood, and then $300 in flight credits, and it's $150 semi-annually. There is a bit of iffy marketing here. The $700 they're using for hotels is up to $250 semi-annually every 6 months, that part's fine, and then they're assuming 2 stays in order to get 2 of the $100 on-property credits for each stay. So I do get the argument because you have 2 stays and you're getting 2 of the credits, so technically it works, but it just doesn't feel like it matches. And in fact, you don't see competing programs counting the $100 credits you get with their stays. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones doing this. They also did expand the Platinum Hotel network with more options, so now it's more than $1,700. Outside of the $100 property credit you get per stay, you also get priority late checkout, room upgrades, and early check-in when available. Still a little bit weak compared to competitors. For those other platforms that have similar nice hotels, you're also going to get daily breakfast for 2 and guaranteed late checkout. The funny thing too is that you don't even need a card like this in order to get these features. Case in point of Cardnomics, we have different rates on the platform, and these are going to be the VIP rates with Virtuoso, Hyatt Privé, Marriott Stars, Hilton for Luxury, and basically the VIP programs. So these are the travel advisor rates where you get VIP perks. The cool part is that there's typically no additional cost, and it's going to be the same as the standard flexible rate. These are also direct bookings, so you get elite nights and points and perks. I'll link it down below, but when I'm not using points or using credits, this is what I'm using. Back to Robinhood, they updated their autonomous ride credit to $250 annually on Waymos, and it's monthly. So pretty much 1 Waymo ride a month. The footprint's actually better than I thought. So they're up and running in a lot of major cities, including Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston, and Dallas. San Diego, Vegas, and Philly are coming soon. Taking a look at the top 10 cities in the US, the 2 missing ones are New York and Chicago. If you live in those cities, hopefully you value the other perks. They're also adding a white glove concierge support for events, private flights, travel disputes, and anything else. Maybe I'm alone here, but it sounds a little fluffy. They've also updated the wearable credit to include a complimentary Whoop Peak membership. I am a fan of Whoop, so that's a positive. They also added a $1,000 one-time credit for 8 Sleep Pod and Base, but this is only available through September 15th. If you're not familiar, the main draw of 8 Sleep is that you can control your temperature, so if you like it hot, then you could have it hot. If you like it cold, same thing. For a lot of people, the idea is that colder is better, and it means you don't wake up in a sweat. I think 8 Sleep is great, but maybe a bit tech build. Also, the standard coupon is $300, so the marginal value is $700, and also it expires. But yeah, worth a try to see if you like it given the 30-day risk-free trial, but not cheap by any means. Along with the positives, there's also negatives. As mentioned, the DoorDash credit did get reduced from $250 to $120, but I think it is still a positive given the removed minimum order. They also swapped out the broad travel credit that was $300, that worked for anything that coded as travel, and now it's only for airlines. So before, hotels, transit, rideshare would all count. The general wearable credit was removed for a Whoop specific one, and the Aura membership was removed. Also before, they did mention that up to 100 of each of the semi-annual hotel credits could be used for standard hotels, so normal priced ones, and now that's no longer the case. So now it's only premium and luxury hotels rather than more affordable normal ones. I guess the positive is that they are listening to feedback and pivoting and adjusting pretty fast. The downside is that they are aggressively pivoting, so same thing, two-sided coin, and it kind of feels like a tech product. So I know a lot of people get angry about the 2 to 3 year updates and how people don't like change and stuff that we see with a lot of other flagship cards. With the Robinhood Platinum Card, It might be the first card that we see updates multiple times a year. In this case, every 6 months. Other credits are still here, including dining and global entry, and there is a tiny shuffle of the month for dining. There's also a lot of other memberships, and we already covered a few. Other ones though include Robinhood Gold, which is worth $50 a year, Function Health, which is up to $365 a year as a statement credit, and up to $199 for Amazon One Medical. You also get a Priority Pass, which is unlimited, but only for yourself, and then guests are $35 per visit. Robinhood Gold, the status, pays for itself, so that's fine. I'm a fan of Function Health, but depends on if you care there. And I don't use Amazon One Medical, but people like it and I've heard good things. Priority Pass, though, is surprisingly weak compared to competitors, which is often you plus 2 guests. Or they have cards that aren't as complicated. Taking a look at the multipliers, they're okay, but it depends on your focus. For example, the top 3 travel ones, you're going to get the same things with pretty much any other flagship card. Case in point, the Capital One Venture X Rewards credit card is 10x on hotels and rental cars through Capital One Travel, and 5x on flights and vacation rentals through Capital One Travel. That one offers 2x on everything else and has a better lounge network and a bit broader. So yeah, for the top 3, the other cards offer similar things, and if anything, they're maybe a bit better if you care about points and miles and upside. For a lot of those other cards, you can transfer to airline and hotel partners to then get more value for redemptions. The most interesting category for the Robinhood card is 5x, which is 5% on dining. So if you eat out a lot, then the card is worth considering. At the same time, there are other cards that earn 3 or 4x miles or points, and if you care about transfers, that could be 6 to 8% in value. Yeah, as a pure cashback card that you're reinvesting in stuff, 5% is solid. At the same time, if you don't spend that much eating out, it might not matter. Even with that spend, I'd rather get 4x points given the upside. In the future, if Robinhood adds transfer partners, then the equation changes, but for now, I'd rather get outsized value on these first and business class flights. Oh, also the fact that Robinhood doesn't have any intro bonuses makes it less interesting. Also a bit of a nitpick, but their gamesmanship is a little bit of an ick, at least for me. So I get a lot of their emails, and it's always a hurry, your application expires in 5 days, and if you don't apply, you won't be considered afterwards. I'm sure that works on a lot of people and converts pretty well, but when you get it every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or so, it stops really mattering. Oh no, I only have 1 day left to apply for the 10th time. So the Platinum card I think is a bit tougher. Gold card though does make sense. I do have a strong suspicion that they're going to flag my account and take away the 3% and make it 1%. So this has happened to a bunch of people, and if you spend a ton, and let's say you're buying gold from Costco or buying a lot of other things that they deem non-personal, then you're only going to get 1% back. The issue though is that you don't really know how they're classifying it and what they're considering personal versus business, so it's kind of a dark box. There also is speculation that it's based off your profitability, so if you have a lot of money with them and they're making a lot of money off you, then they care a bit less. Maybe I'm a bit of a weirdo, but a lot of my purchases could probably be argued as business, whether it's actually business or perceived to be business. Same reason why I've been able to hit a lot of spend incentives on cards for elite status and free night awards. One of my favorite tools for handling business payments is today's sponsor, Melio. Melio is a digital payment platform built for small businesses. You can use it to pay vendors, get paid, manage cash flow, and keep your bookkeeping organized from one dashboard. On the accounts payable side, Melio can help automate the busy work. You can use AI-powered bill capture to enter bills and then schedule the payments ahead of time. You also have flexibility with how you pay. Depending on the payment, you can use ACH, a bank transfer, credit card, debit card, or even a physical check. For a lot of us, the interesting option is paying by credit card, even when the vendor normally doesn't accept cards. For my business, I have contractors and vendors that I pay every month. Melio gives me the option to put these payments on a credit card, which can make it a lot easier to work towards an intro bonus or elite status spending requirements. You can schedule payments in advance as well. That way you're not manually handling the same bills every month. Vendors don't need to create a Melio account to receive payments, which keeps things pretty straightforward on their side. Melio also connects with accounting software like QuickBooks and Xero. If you already use one of these platforms, then the sync can cut down on duplicate data entry and help keep everything organized. If you're constantly on the go, Melio has a mobile app. You can review and approve payments from the airport, create invoices while you're with the client, and check payment status directly from your phone. Try it out for free yourself today. Go to the link here or down below and sign up for free and schedule your first payment today. Moving to an award redemption deep dive, the Waldorf Astoria New York finally has points availability. This is the flagship of the Hilton umbrella and the Waldorf brand, and it's also the original luxury property. Also, if you like salads, this is where the Waldorf salad was invented by Oscar of the Waldorf. It is a pretty historic hotel and it closed back in 2017 for an 8-year renovation. It reopened last summer in July 2025. For the last 12 months though, availability has been pretty rough. Luckily though, they just did a big inventory dump. For example, this is what January 2027 looks like, and we're looking at a lot of those $150K standard room rates, so pretty plentiful. Weekends are still a bit tough, but you have most of the month available other than 17th to 23rd. Taking a look at the retail price, for January it's not too bad, about 900 something for those dates that work. Mind you, January in New York can be very cold depending on the year. For example, this year there was a historic cold wave and a lot of snow, so flying in from the West Coast, it was definitely a very different vibe. Still pretty cool, very literally, but yeah, I haven't felt that cold in a very long time. January ends up being low season for New York, so not surprised to see availability. February though is even better and it's pretty much wide open other than Valentine's weekend. So here even weekends like the 20th and 21st and 27th and 28th work for award availability. Taking a look at the retail price, a bit higher, so $940 to $1,100, and about that 0.7 cents per point range. March gets interesting both for availability, but also weather. It's a pretty much wide open other than 2 days, 20th and 27, so a bit tougher if you want to do those weekends, but everything else is fine. Taking a look at retail price, even for a lot of those weekdays that are available for standard rooms, you might be looking at $1,500 to $1,600. $1,688 for 150K points is more than 1 cent per point. I think March is well worth considering. April is pretty similar and arguably better because you might be landing into better weather. Pretty open other than 4 days, 3rd, 16, 17, and 24. The retail price jumps up even a little bit more, so closer to $1,700. I'm probably booking this myself and hoping for good weather. For May though, it is pretty dry other than Sundays, and that's pretty much the case for the rest of the year as well, at least for now. Mind you, we might see another dump in a few months. Oh, also if you have free night rewards from your cards, whether anniversary nights or the ones for spend, all you're looking for is standard room availability, and that works. We did send out a newsletter about this yesterday. If you want to get first dibs to these notifications, consider subscribing. In terms of value, it's pretty solid, especially for a legendary hotel. So let's say we do April 9th and 10th as a weekend in New York. The retail for this is $1,652 per night times 2 for 2 nights. Here we have a few choices, the 2 double bedroom, the king room, and the 2 double bed mobility room. The 2 nights for the weekend would be almost $3,800, and $3,300 is the base, and then almost $500 in taxes and fees. If you did 1 night, it'd be $1,900, which is still pretty crazy. What about points? The all-in price here for 2 nights is $300K, and we avoid the $500 in taxes and fees. $3,800 divided by 300,000 points is 1.26 cents per point. For bank points, this wouldn't be the greatest number, but these are Hilton points. Oftentimes bank points transfer to Hilton at a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 rate. My hurdle rate, so what I'm looking to get for my Hilton points before I would book, is 0.8 cents per point, and here 1.26 is more than 0.8. If it's below this number, I'm going to try to book with other tools, whether it's free night rewards or paying out of pocket. Main idea though is that it's a great redemption if you care about the hotel. If you don't care for New York, if you don't like city hotels, or the significance of this hotel, then it might be a skip. Especially if you're running around New York anyways and you're not really staying there too much, it might not matter. There's going to be other hotels that might be a few notches down, but for a fraction of the price, for example, the Andaz by Hyatt. For the same dates, it's about $500 to $600, so still not cheap, but probably good enough for most people if you're running around. If anything, my run around and see things number is probably $200 to $300, depending on the city. And yeah, maybe we're weird, but we kind of hop between very nice hotels to good enough ones, to very nice ones, to good enough ones, and so on. One's to enjoy the nice hotel and probably do a bit of work, so more of a workation style, while the other one is if we're out and about all day and just sleeping there. I feel like doing that style also makes you appreciate the nicer hotel. If you don't have points, there are other cards out there where you might be paying a $550 annual fee, getting up to $400 for Hilton Resort credits, up to $200 as flight credits, Hilton Diamond status, and getting a free night reward that you can use at these $1,000 plus Waldorf Astorias, Conrads, or LXR hotels. Even if you ignore everything else, I'm more than willing to pay $550 for an almost $2,000 hotel room. That deal just makes sense to me. But yeah, for us, that's why we end up stacking certain cards. Even though it sounds insane, the math works. Also, if you do have a bunch of free night rewards from different brands and you're looking to manage it a bit better, it is a feature on Cardnomics. This is our app that lets you manage a lot of card features. So for example, credits and pretty much a control panel that you can have in your pocket when you walk around. I feel like at this point, the credits are in a good spot and pretty much done. For this month, I'm looking to improve the travel stuff, especially the travel stamps. Hilton's pretty good at this for their certificates, but not really their points. Hyatt's good with their points, but not really certificates. But yeah, I feel like I travel a lot, but it's not really being displayed in a nice way. Check it out and let me know what other features we should add. Okay, last up is going to be what might be the worst card launch that I've seen in the longest time, and it's going to be the Citi AAdvantage Executive Card. So when I first did a prediction video, I was pretty bullish. Not really the case anymore. I'm fine with credits because it can lower the effective annual fee of cards and make them more affordable. At the same time, I also discount credits that are annoying. So the up to $500 a year on American Airlines vacation has to be a travel package or an experience, and it's up to $250 semi-annually. On the travel side, in order to have a package, you have to pick two of three things: flights, hotels, or car. That just makes it very tough, if not impossible, to only use the credit and not go over. Maybe it's because I have a lot of cards, but I don't really think of one trip or one vacation as one credit to use. It's multiple credits. So even if we did one night at the cheapest hotel in LA that I could find, and we did a car rental, that would still be $200. So technically that would work, but that's the absolute best case. And even then, we're kind of paying for a one-day rental for a car that we might not really need or want. You might think flights make sense, but it's pretty tough. The main reason is that the flight pretty much forces the duration for the trip. So let's say if you do a 5-day trip, you're kind of booking 5 nights worth of hotels. Even if you pick car rental, same issue, you would need to book 5 days of that car, which can be pretty expensive. Basically, your best bet here is hotel and car rentals. If it's a more expensive hotel, then 1 night, cheaper one, maybe 2 nights. That might also be you renting a car that you don't really want, especially if you're Ubering around. Also, their site is a bit confusing and it's hard to really see how much you end up owing until you get to the end, so it's just not the most user-friendly. Taking a look at the terms, there is the requirement to have 2 or more travel components in order for it to work, for it to be a travel package. The other option, and the one that might make more sense now, would be the experience purchases. On the surface, it sounds good, but a little bit tougher in practice. Even though there are options, there's just not that many. Pressing into one of the sports ones for the Eagles, I don't even see cash pricing. Same thing with the other ones, so I'm not sure if I'm getting trolled or what's going on here. Eligible purchases are defined as American Airlines vacation travel packages, so what we mentioned, or experiences purchased through AAvacations.com. I'm on AA Vacations, I'm going to the experiences, but there's no paid ones. This is a terrible credit and pretty annoying. I would aggressively discount this. For me, myself, probably down to even 0. For a lot of people, probably at least 50%. It's probably non-zero for most people, but it's super annoying. The Lyft credit is equally dumb, if not dumber, so you have to have 3 rides in a calendar month in order to earn a $15 credit. Even as someone that does a lot of rideshare, I'm not really loyal to Lyft. I do Lyft and Uber, whichever one's cheaper, so it doesn't make sense. Also, the fact that other cards also have credits that I need to use anyway, so unless I'm only using this card and nothing else, it doesn't make sense. The Avis and budget one is fine if you rent cars up to $120 back on prepaid car rentals. That doesn't seem abnormal, that seems very fair. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you have 2 credits that are insane and 1 that's fine and normal. That doesn't make sense to me. The main value prop of the card is Admirals Club membership and why people probably will keep getting the card. The main idea being that you're paying a $6.95 annual fee to get the membership, and that's a lot cheaper than buying the membership outright, which would run you $850 and all the way down to $750 if you have their top level status or the top public level. The math can still work, so it can still make sense, but as someone that's seen a lot of credits who deals with cards a lot, I don't think I've been this peeved by a credit before. On that note, if you want to learn about cards that don't have psychopath credits and you want to support the channel, we have links on our website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive and that the cards make sense for you and your circumstances, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. If you've made it to this point, leave a fire emoji, which is where I want to toss the card, in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the Robinhood Platinum Card update? Do you like it, or do you think it's still a miss? Number 2, would you be a fan of cards updating every 6 to 12 months, or is that a bit too much? Number 3, when you're using points for hotels, are you looking at more city options or vacations where you're kind of escaping the world? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Thank you again to Emilio for sponsoring today's video. Link down below if you want to check them out. Big favor, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.